Welcome to Commanders Daily, everybody. It's your one-stop shop for everything going on with the Burgundy and Gold. I'm Bob Matthews. Don't forget, hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss a day of our coverage. All right, it is now T-minus 2 weeks and change until the NFL draft. We are going to, today, dive into the case for somebody we haven't really talked about yet. For the Commanders and using their seventh pick in the draft. But before that, we got to talk about what's going on off the field with the current members of the roster. And I think most of you are probably going to like this, but it looks like Jaden Daniels is all set and ready to go and not even waiting for the offseason workouts to begin. Not only did he, play in the FanDuel flag football game, and thank God he got out of that without any injuries or anything. But he stayed in L.A. after that, and if you take a look on social media, you see that he is doing a little early off-season work. He's got Terry McLaurin, De'Ami Brown, and Rachaad White all out with him in L.A., working out and getting familiar with each other and getting ready for OTAs. Of course, it's more like getting reacquainted with De'Ami, who spent a year in Jacksonville and is now back with the Commanders. But having Rachaad White is, they are hoping, going to be a huge improvement on the offense for Jaden and give him another weapon back there. It's a big season, 2026 is, when you think about it, and it's a good thing that they're getting a head start on all this. Remember, it's Terry's last year before his contract runs out, and that negotiation last year basically just tacked a year on to his commitment here in D.C. If they want to keep him after that, they could be looking at a franchise tag situation. And then, you've got White, who, is, the contract's not that long there, so he's got to mesh quickly. And, who else is coming in? So, by the end of 26, you're going to be talking about a big-time extension for Jaden. He is probably going to be the first player in league history to hit the $600 million mark with his total contract there. So we see what happens, but I'm liking the fact that you've got these four guys, four of the key pieces in that offense, getting together and working out early. Would like to see a couple other guys out there, but hey, at the end of the day, I am definitely encouraged to see that not just Terry, but that De'Ami Brown and Rachaad White are out there working with Jaden as we speak. Always a good thing when you get a little bit of extra work in. One of the free agent signees that has been getting a lot of play recently online and in a very good way is safety Nick Cross. And, I started looking at it. We really haven't talked a lot about Cross vis-a-vis, what he might contribute to the defense. But the good folks over at Rigo's Rag did, and I was taking a look at some of the things that they were mentioning, and Nick Cross might wind up being a really, really shrewd signing for this team. He was 27th on Sports Illustrated's ranking of the top 50 NFL free agents. And it's, he could definitely be a huge, huge bargain. It fills a really big need for him. And remember, Nick Cross is only 24 years old, so they're getting a guy. They said, what did Adam Peters say at the beginning of the offseason? Get younger, get faster. That is definitely what they're getting with Cross, And with 2 years at a maximum of $14 million, $6 million guaranteed, that makes him, that's not even close to being one of the 20 highest paid guys at his position, and yet, as they argue in the story, he's been a lot more productive than most of those names. He's going to be a really, really good addition, I think. He is going to definitely help improve the defense. This was a defense that allowed 141 yards rushing last year, almost 142. Cross is third is third in solo tackles with 159 since 2024, and 11th in total tackles with 266. So he's a really good run-stopping box defender, and that's something that the Commanders need and need in bunches. They have got to figure out a way to get that defense off the field a lot earlier. And when you look at, at who they had in there, when you look at the roster last year, I think it's definitely an improvement having Nick Cross on this roster. So I understand why they're saying it was such a shrewd move, and hopefully that's what it turns out to be. So good news there if you're looking around at some of these signees, figuring out how everybody is going to fit in. So with the draft coming up in less than 3 weeks, we have been talking a lot about the edge rushers. Does Ruben Bain fall? Does David Bailey fall? That one seems like it could be a really good prospect and a really good fit. Does Jeremiah Love last until number 7? And what about a receiver in that position? One guy we haven't taken a really long look at all is Caleb Downs from Ohio State. All-American safety, regarded as a top 3 overall talent regardless of positions. And he's another guy that may very well be available at number 7. And what do you think? Is this a guy that is worthy of the 7th pick overall? He's 6 feet tall, 206 pounds. His comp, according to a lot of people, is Eric Berry. He's played, he's played in big-time programs throughout his career. Started at Alabama in 2023, played in all 14 games there, second team Associated Press All-American, National Freshman of the Year, SEC Freshman of the Year, led the team in tackles as a freshman at Alabama. That's hard to do. Then he transfers to Ohio State, starts all 16 games in 24, wins a national championship, first team All-American, AP All-American, starts all 14 games in 2025, a team captain in 2025, Big Ten Conference Player of the Year. He's got he's got everything that you want as far as those measurables go. It's all a question of, is this the guy that you want at number 7? Now, me personally, I would rather see him take a wideout or either one of the top 2 that you like the best. I've got my feelings on that, but hey, who knows what Adam Peters thinks. Or an edge rusher with David Bailey. But again, you can never have too many good players at any one position. And if there's a chance to grab him and, again, it's something that Durante Jones wants, then you have to definitely take a look at it and say, hey, this could be a guy that is somebody that you want to look at. If Jones thinks that he is, that having a player of his quality, with his football IQ, which apparently is off the charts, in the defensive backfield, if he thinks that's going to make the defense better, then it's definitely something that you got to look at. And from what everybody says, he's great in coverage. He can play the run. He can line up on the boundary. He's good in the red zone. Everything seems to suggest that, he's one of those safeties, kind of a freak athletically, that really makes a difference, that not only makes a difference in the defensive secondary, but makes a difference overall in the entire offense. It'll be the entire defense, rather. It'll be very, very interesting to see. So, as we close this out, then, that is your assignment. What do you think? Do you take Caleb Downs if he is there at number 7? Not one of the guys we have talked about a lot so far. Drop us a comment, let us know, and we will read it. We will talk about it again tomorrow. Have a great day. Remember, don't forget to like and subscribe. And like the wise man once said, if you're on your bike tonight, as always, do wear white.